How's it going, everyone? Welcome to the channel. And if you're wondering what the significance of that sequence was, it's really nothing other than the fact that it was shot using the help of this little guy right here. This is the SmallRig RM120 RGB light, and I want to talk about it. Before we dive into my thoughts on the RM120, I do want to thank SmallRig for sending it out to me for review. And just so you guys know, SmallRig did not pay me any money for this review. They sent the light out and simply told me to give you guys my thoughts. So that's what I'm gonna do today. We're gonna go over some of the features, some of the things that I really like about the RM120, and a couple of things that I don't like as much about the RM120 as well. The key topics that I do want to talk about with the RM120 are the battery life and the variety of functions that it has, packed inside a tiny, powerful little light. Now, speaking on battery life, the RM120 has a 5500 milliamp battery inside of it, which for a light this small is crazy big, and it is a little bit beefier than other options in its class. I know with the other small lights that I have that we use for accents on our commercial shoots, their battery size is about 2500 milliamps. This light is more than double the lights that I currently use, which in theory should mean I get double the amount of battery life, which is very helpful because I know with some of our other lights we have had them die in the middle of a shoot. Now that's not the light's fault, that was my fault for not monitoring the time that I had left with the light being on. But this is a nice little security blanket having a 5500 milliamp battery, something that should last a little bit longer than most of the lights in the class. Moving on, the RM120 has 4 customizable modes, starting with HSI mode. Now what this mode is basically a color wheel. You can adjust the degrees, which equates to a color on the color wheel, as well as the saturation of that color that you have chosen. It's a quick little way to go throughout the full RGB spectrum. The second mode is an RGBW mode. Now this mode gives you a lot more customizable options with your RGB spectrum alone. So you can saturate or desaturate any of the individual RGB channels. Pretty neat mode. Now, as far as the FX mode, I'm not gonna go through all of the effects, but we have lightning, we have a TV mode, a fire mode, a siren light mode, just some things that can be added to a scene to spice it up for whatever it is you're shooting. And we have our classic CCT mode, which is just our tungsten to daylight balanced light. Probably going to be used mostly as a key if you're in a pinch, or used to really accentuate a practical within your scene. So who do I believe that this light is for? The first group of people that I believe this light is for are travel vloggers, wedding photographers and videographers, or anyone doing run and gun style journalism where you can't bring a full light kit with you. You literally are stuck with either the natural light around you or whatever light you can throw on your camera. I believe the RM120 is a great option for people like that who just want to have an extra amount of light without packing a bunch of gear, or maybe the trip that you're on does not even allow for you to have extra gear such as giant softbox or things like that. As far as creators like myself, most of our work lies in the commercial realm, so I'm never gonna use this as a main key light. I'm never gonna use this as a big soft source for a subject. However, I will use this as a practical, as an accent, to give me color pops, anything to make my scene more interesting. And I alluded that to the beginning of the video, where with similar lights, I have used them to help add color pops and accentuate a scene. Moving on to the pros of the RM120, going back to that battery, a 5500 milliamp battery in a package this small, it just gives you a nice little security blanket. Second pro is tunability. Inside each one of the effects and inside all of the modes, you have customizable features that I didn't even mention. Take, for example, like the fire. Not only do you have a candlelight option, but you have a blue flame option, you have a ghost fire option that they threw in there, as well as with like the siren lights. You can dictate what kind of siren lights those are. A lot of customizable features built into each one of these modes, which makes it very tunable for whatever situation you're in. And the third pro is this light is very powerful. It gets pretty bright, and I'm going to give you an example right now. If I go to my normal CCT mode here and crank the power up to 100, this thing gets pretty bright. As a matter of fact, let me turn my key light off. I mean, I can totally light myself just with this light right here. Now, with it being a small source, once again, it's going to be pretty harsh, but it gives me plenty of light in a pinch if need be. Back to the key. A few cons with the RM120 that I want to get out of the way. I do wish that SmallRig would have a Bluetooth feature with this light. I think that would set this light apart compared to the others in its class. I would love to be able to chain a few of these together to really be able to create some pops inside of a scene. So SmallRig, if you're listening and watching this review, bring us a Bluetooth app for this light in particular. That would be so awesome. Second con, and I just alluded to it, with this light being a small light source, it's not going to be as soft as your big soft boxes, and it's not meant to be. These are just personal cons. It's nothing against the light. I like big soft light though. And the third con with the RM120, in my opinion, is I would love to have an actual time readout of the battery life. It has bars, and it only has 3 bars, so it's hard to gauge, okay, at 66% and at 33%, how much time do I have left with the battery? I would love to have a time readout if that was possible with this light. SmallRig, once again, if you're listening, a time readout on the display would be awesome, just so that I know how much time I have left for the light. In closing, I believe the RM120 is a great option for most situations and most people to have in their camera bag, at least as an option in a pinch, or if you're wanting to accentuate and make a scene a little bit better. If you want to pick up the RM120 for yourself, you can have it for about $60 USD, and I'll also put a link for the light in my description below. Now, it is an affiliated link. I do appreciate you guys supporting the channel, and I want to know your thoughts. What would you use the RM120 for? Thanks again to SmallRig for sending the light out. Y'all have a good one. We'll see you in the next.